So my phone rings for a few different reasons. Death, that's a hard one. Divorce, babies, kids, just having outgrown the space. Parents that are saying, hey, I need a larger home so my kids can run around. Schools, better schools, obviously. Downsizing, the later years. And then relocations, somebody moving their family across the country. And these are not just commissions for me. These are big life moments that require different reactions, empathy, and just requires me to respond differently to each of them. And I take that very seriously, and I try to do that in every situation. So when the phone rings and there's been a death in the family, um, probably my most difficult call, because in most situations, I've worked with these clients in the past and we already have a friendship and we've built a rapport, so I genuinely care about them. And so it's a hard one because I know what they're about to go through. I've done it a lot. I've helped many families that have lost loved ones. And it's hard because not only are they suffering with the loss, which is going throughout the entire family, they now have to deal with getting rid of the belongings, selling the home where all the memories are. As I'm talking right now, I'm going through countless people in my mind, and those were probably one of the hardest times in their life. And I was a big part of it. We talked on a daily basis throughout the entire transaction. I get choked up talking about it because it really, you feel their pain that they're going through. And so you want to help them and be of assistance. And it requires going through their personal belongings. And have I packed boxes? Yeah. I've helped people pack boxes when it became too painful for them. I've organized estate sales because sometimes that's less painful to have other people come in, and just helping throughout the process. It's not an easy one. It's not a good call, but it's a call that at least by the end of the transaction I knew, and I'm thankful that they called me because I do care and because I knew that there would be nobody that would treat them with the love and respect in this situation than I would. And I know that wholeheartedly, that they were in great hands, and I was able to help that really difficult situation be a little bit easier. Divorce, when I get that call, that's a really hard call in most situations. I've worked with them in the past. I probably sold them their house when things were great. And they had just gotten married, and it's heartbreaking. And I love them both differently, and I have to go about it being equal, for lack of a better word, to where I am not choosing sides. I am just there to help them in a very difficult time get through a difficult process of selling the home, splitting their assets. So those calls happen too much as well, but something that I do feel at the end of those transactions that I'm thankful that I was able to help, because I feel like both sides feel like they were equally treated, because that is sometimes what happens in that difficult time of divorce. It feels unfair to one or another side, and so I try to make sure that in the negotiations we just keep it about business. It's no longer about a home. The home's broken. So it becomes now about business and getting them the most money so they can divide that money. And those situations I handle a little bit differently because there's not a lot of happiness going through at that time. So it just becomes about a business transaction and trying to get it done for them as quick as possible and as painless as possible. When I get the phone calls with babies, so families expanding, probably one of my most joyous phone calls. I love kids. Everybody knows that. I have two girls of my own. And so when I'm getting those phone calls, these families, I've sold them their home when they were married. So now I'm watching their families grow, and I love it. So they're going crazy. They're in a town home in most situations, or a smaller home with no rear yard. Their kids are running around. They're going nuts. They're ready for a larger house. And it's a great time. I know their kids. I, in most situations, have known them since they were born. And so those phone calls are easy for me. except for, of course, bringing the kids out while we're looking for homes. But those are a joyous call because now I know that I'm going to help them go to that next phase in their life. Your average person sells every 7 years. So those phone calls I definitely look forward to getting. So another phone call that I enjoy getting is the one where the families are expanding. So first baby. So they've been in a small 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom house. Now they're having their first child. So I get to celebrate that with them, which we love. And so that phone call is a great one because I'm just going to go get them a smaller place, maybe 2 or 3 bedroom. Or the phone call where they've had 2 now. They're going a little crazy. They need room. They need room for those babies to run. And those are also joyous phone calls because these families, I've watched them. I was with them before they got married, sold them a house when they got married, and now I'm watching their families, those first phases of life. I enjoy it so thoroughly. So that is probably one of my favorite phone calls to get. All right, so downsizing. A great phone call can be an emotional one as well. Um, as I can relate, I am currently an empty nester now, and that's a hard thing because you've had kids for the last 18 to 20 years, and now you're driving them off to college, and so it's kind of the next phase in my client's life, and it can be emotional for them, but exciting as well. So they've been in the large home where they had all the kids and they were running all through the backyard. And they have the pool and they have the slide, and now it's time for maybe a single story, just go into something a little smaller, a little easier to take care of. So those phone calls are great because now I've watched their kids grow up and moving on and doing their own thing, and soon be selling them a house. But looking forward to just seeing this next phase in my client's life. So when people call me for schools, I'm really passionate about it. Education is a very big deal. And I personally have had my kids through some of the greatest schools that we offer in the Ventura County area, and I'm so thankful and feel very blessed to have done that. So it's something that I feel when that phone rings about that, and there's people that really care about where their kids are going to go to school, I take it really personally, and I kind of take them on a journey, the same journey that I did, from preschools to kindergarten through 6th. So elementaries, what are the best? What are the best for their students? I have a science, he's a scientist, a client, he's fantastic, and his kids have the gift of science as well, so we found him a fantastic elementary school that focuses on science. So I'm passionate about education, so it's something that I love when my phone rings for those calls because I know a lot about it. I did a lot of research. I had one girl that went all the way through Lorena, 6 years, go Regents, and then one that went through Oaks Christian, which is such a fantastic institution that we have right here in Westlake area. So something that I love when people call me about schools because I have a lot of information and I can help guide them depending on who really their kid is because every kid's different. Relocations, that's a exciting one and a very terrifying one for most families. So I love it because I'm going to be able to share with them. Ventura County is my home. I was born and raised here. So I'm going to be able to share with them the great things about our home. And I know the fear that they have. Their kids are about to start school. They don't know anyone. They don't have doctors. They don't have dentists. I'm plugged in. I've been in this community forever. And I love that I get to share my friends with them and the people that I trust my own family with. So relocations are really special to me because I get to kind of show my home to them, and I love where I live. So that's an awesome phone call to get. So commissions and listings is not really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for clients that I can help find a little piece of their American dream, and that I can be a lifelong confident friend, real estate advisor for them. That's truly it. I'll become part of their family. I bounce their grandkids on my knee in their kitchen. I don't do everything over the internet, and all of my paperwork doesn't go, paperless. I sit in their family room. I get to know them. I get to know their family, and they refer me to their friends. I become part of their family. I go to their weddings. I see their babies when they're born. It's so much more than a commission for me. I really do truly love my clients. There's nothing more important to me than family. And anybody that knows that, knows me, knows that 100%. So, and in my business, that's my focus. When I'm sitting at that kitchen table and someone will say, one of my colleagues will say, I give them an hour. Really? Okay, I give them as much time as they need to make that decision that's right for them. No, I'm not going to give them from 7 to 8, because if they need from 7 to 9:30 because they're feeling uncomfortable about this situation, I'm not leaving until they're comfortable, because that's the same way that I would want someone to treat me. And when I first got in this business, that was probably the hardest part about it, was the reputation of my colleagues. I don't want to be in a business where I don't have the respect. And you know what? There's some fantastic realtors out there, but unfortunately, there's some that have given us a bad name. And I made it a goal in 2002 to change that and mean it, and really let my clients know and people that interacted with me that I am not there about the commission. I am not there just for my checking and savings account. I am there to help them. And if that turns out helping me, awesome. But if it's not right for them, I'm not going to do the deal, period. I've walked away and left a lot of money on the table. Why? Because it's the wrong thing to do for my client. And eventually, 3-4 years later, they called me back, thanked me for that, and guess what? I've earned their business because I've earned their trust. So that is something that has always been a driver for me, because it's how I would want to be treated if I invited somebody into my home that was going to help me in business. And so it's been something that I've used in my business.